In a world swirling with chaos, where the noise of distractions pulls us in every direction, have you ever stopped to consider what it truly means to put God first? Imagine a life where every decision, every relationship, and every moment is anchored in a divine purpose. Picture the transformation that could unfold if you shifted your priorities, allowing faith to guide your path. What if I told you that this simple act could lead to profound changes? Have you noticed how often we chase after fleeting desires, only to find emptiness waiting at the finish line? It's a cycle that many of us fall into, but there's a way out. When you place God at the center, everything shifts. The worries that once consumed you begin to fade. The clarity you've been searching for emerges, illuminating the way forward. But here's the catch. It requires a leap of faith, a willingness to embrace the unknown. Can you feel the tension? That's the moment of decision, the crossroads where your life could pivot. Are you ready to explore what happens when you truly prioritize your faith? Because trust me, the journey is nothing short of extraordinary. Chapter 8. Spiritual priority. Putting God first in our daily decisions isn't just a phrase. It's a way of life that can transform everything. For me, it started as a simple choice, a conscious decision to think about what God would want in each situation I faced. Whether it was choosing how to spend my time, whom to trust, or how to respond to challenges, I found that the more I sought God's guidance, the clearer my path became. It's like having a compass that always points true north, guiding me through the fog of uncertainty. When I prioritize God, I find that my decisions reflect a deeper sense of purpose. Instead of reacting impulsively or out of self-interest, I begin to weigh my choices against my values and beliefs. This shift doesn't always make things easier. In fact, sometimes it complicates matters. But it also provides a profound sense of fulfillment, knowing that I'm aligning my life with a higher calling. It's not just about avoiding mistakes, it's about embracing the journey, however messy it might be. I've noticed that this approach changes how I view success and failure. When I place God at the center of my life, success becomes less about personal achievement and more about being faithful to my calling. It's about serving others and contributing to something greater than myself. In moments of doubt, I remind myself that my worth isn't defined by worldly standards, but by my relationship with God. This prioritization also brings clarity to my life's mission. I no longer feel like I'm stumbling through life or reacting to circumstances. Instead, I wake up each day with a sense of purpose, ready to tackle whatever comes my way, knowing I'm not alone in the process. It's a beautiful transformation that continues to unfold as I learn to trust and depend on God more. Ultimately, prioritizing God shapes not just my decisions, but my entire worldview. It's a lens through which I see my life and the lives of others. It reminds me to look beyond myself, to consider the impact of my choices on my family, friends, and even strangers. This spiritual priority has become the foundation of my existence, and I can't imagine living any other way. Impact on personal life. The impact of prioritizing God in my life has been profound. It's as if a light bulb went off, illuminating areas that I had previously overlooked or taken for granted. My perspective on life shifted dramatically. No longer was I simply moving from one day to the next without much thought. I began to see each day as an opportunity to grow, learn, and serve. This newfound perspective gave my life a sense of direction that was previously absent. Understanding my purpose became clearer as I aligned my values with my faith. Instead of chasing after fleeting desires, I began to pursue what truly mattered. This alignment has led to a more meaningful existence. For instance, I found joy in small things, helping a neighbor, spending time with family, or even just enjoying a quiet moment of reflection. These moments, once overlooked, became treasures that enriched my life. Moreover, I noticed that prioritizing God influenced how I responded to challenges. Instead of feeling overwhelmed or defeated, I began to approach difficulties with a sense of hope and resilience. I realized that struggles were part of the journey, and they often served a purpose, whether it was teaching me patience or prompting me to rely more on God. This attitude shift has made me more adaptable and open to life's unpredictability. Additionally, the impact on my mental and emotional well-being has been significant. I've experienced a decrease in anxiety and a greater sense of peace. Knowing that I'm part of a larger plan and that God is in control alleviates much of the stress I used to carry. It's like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders, allowing me to breathe easier and enjoy life's moments without the constant worry of what might happen next. Ultimately, prioritizing God has transformed not just my perspective, but the very fabric of my daily life. I've learned to embrace challenges, celebrate victories, and cherish relationships in ways I never thought possible. This journey of faith has opened my eyes to the beauty around me and deepened my appreciation for both the ordinary and extraordinary moments of life. When I decided to prioritize God in my life, I quickly noticed a ripple effect on my relationships. It's like turning on a light in a dim room. Everything suddenly becomes clearer. My interactions with family, friends, and even colleagues have taken on a new depth and richness. I find myself approaching relationships with a spirit of love and understanding rather than self-interest or expectation. One of the most significant changes has been in how I communicate. When I place God at the center of my relationships, I strive to listen more and judge less. I've learned that everyone has their struggles, and instead of reacting defensively or critically, I try to respond with empathy and compassion. This shift has led to more meaningful conversations and has strengthened my connections with others. Moreover, prioritizing God helps me establish healthy boundaries. I've come to understand that loving others doesn't mean sacrificing my own well-being. In fact, it often means standing firm in my convictions and being honest about my needs. This balance has fostered respect in my relationships, creating an environment where both parties can thrive. I also find that my faith influences how I resolve conflicts. Instead of allowing anger or resentment to fester, I'm more inclined to seek reconciliation and forgiveness. It's not always easy, but I'm learning to approach disagreements with grace and humility. This has not only diffused tense situations, but has also deepened my connections with those I care about. Ultimately, prioritizing God has transformed the way I view relationships. No longer are they mere transactions or obligations. They are opportunities for growth, love, and connection. I've come to appreciate the beauty of community, the joy of shared experiences, and the strength that comes from supporting one another through life's ups and downs. This shift has made my life richer and more fulfilling in ways I never imagined. Decision-making. The way I make decisions has undergone a significant transformation since I began prioritizing God. In the past, I often relied on my instincts or the opinions of others, which led to a lot of uncertainty and second-guessing. Now, I consciously seek God's guidance before making choices. This practice has turned decision-making from a source of stress into a spiritual exercise that grounds me. When faced with tough choices, I take a moment to pray and reflect. It's a simple act, but it has profound implications. By inviting God into the decision-making process, I gain clarity and peace. I often find that the answers come in unexpected ways, through scripture, conversations with wise friends, or a quiet moment of inspiration. This connection has taught me to trust the process and to have faith in the outcomes. Moreover, prioritizing God helps me weigh my decisions against my values. I ask myself not just what I want, but what aligns with my faith and the principles I hold dear. This alignment fosters a sense of integrity. I feel more at peace with my choices, knowing they reflect my beliefs. It also frees me from the pressure of societal expectations, allowing me to forge my own path. In moments of uncertainty, the guidance from my faith acts like a beacon. It reminds me that I don't have to navigate life's complexities alone. I've learned to embrace the unknown, trusting that God has a plan for me. This trust has made me more resilient and open to new possibilities, even when they don't align with my initial desires. Ultimately, prioritizing God in my decision-making process has led to greater confidence and satisfaction in my life. I approach each choice as an opportunity to align with my purpose, fostering a sense of harmony within myself. This journey of faith has transformed not only how I make decisions, but also how I view the path ahead, one filled with hope, purpose, and divine guidance.
Inner peace. The quest for inner peace is something I've grappled with for most of my life. However, since I began prioritizing my relationship with God, I've discovered a profound sense of tranquility that I never thought possible. This peace isn't based on external circumstances, but is deeply rooted in my faith. It's a calming presence that envelops me, regardless of life's chaos. In the past, my peace often hinged on material success or the approval of others. I chased after fleeting sources of happiness, only to find them lacking. But as I embraced my faith, I realized that true peace comes from knowing I'm loved and guided by a higher power. It's a reassurance that transcends my circumstances and provides a solid foundation for my life. Practicing gratitude has also become a vital part of my journey toward inner peace. I've learned to recognize and appreciate the blessings in my life, no matter how small they may seem.
This shift in focus has allowed me to cultivate a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. It's challenging at times, especially during difficult seasons, but I've found that reflecting on my blessings brings a sense of calm and perspective. Moreover, my connection with God has taught me the importance of surrender. I've learned that I don't have to control every aspect of my life. In fact, trying to do so often leads to stress and anxiety. Instead, I've found peace in letting go and trusting that God has my best interests at heart. This surrender doesn't mean being passive, it means being open to whatever comes my way, knowing that I'm supported and guided. Ultimately, prioritizing my relationship with God has transformed my search for inner peace. It has shifted my focus from external validation to internal assurance. I've learned that true peace is a gift that comes from faith, gratitude, and surrender. This journey has not only enriched my life, but has also inspired me to share this message with others, encouraging them to seek the same profound sense of tranquility that comes from prioritizing God. Resilience in difficult times. When I think about resilience during tough times, I can't help but reflect on my own experiences. There have been moments in my life where everything seemed to be crumbling around me. It's during these periods that I found my faith tested, but also strengthened. I recall a particularly challenging phase when I lost my job unexpectedly. The initial shock was overwhelming, leaving me anxious and uncertain about the future. Yet, in the depths of that despair, it was my faith that kept me anchored. Having a strong belief system provided me with a sense of hope, a glimmer of light in an otherwise dark tunnel. I remember turning to prayer, asking for guidance and strength. It was as if, through that connection with God, I received a reassurance that I wasn't alone in my struggles. That divine support made all the difference. Instead of succumbing to hopelessness, I found the courage to keep pushing forward, knowing that each day was a new opportunity for growth and recovery. Moreover, my faith equipped me with the tools to view challenges through a different lens. Instead of seeing obstacles as insurmountable barriers, I began to recognize them as opportunities for personal development. I learned that resilience isn't just about bouncing back, it's about evolving. The tough moments taught me valuable lessons about perseverance, patience, and the importance of leaning on my faith during trying times. Another aspect of resilience is the community that surrounds us. In my darkest hours, I discovered the power of sharing my burdens with others. Friends and family, who also share my beliefs, rallied around me, offering support and encouragement. Their presence and prayers served as a reminder that resilience is often a collective effort. Together, we navigated through the storm, reinforcing my conviction that faith can indeed move mountains. Finally, the journey through difficult times has shaped my understanding of what it truly means to be resilient. It's not just about enduring hardship. It's about transforming those experiences into stepping stones for future growth. My faith has taught me that every challenge is an opportunity to deepen my relationship with God and to build a stronger, more resilient self. The importance of prayer. Prayer has always been a cornerstone of my spiritual life. I can't emphasize enough how transformative this practice has been for me. It's not just a ritual, it's a lifeline. In moments of joy, sorrow, confusion, or clarity, turning to prayer has provided a channel for communication with God. I remember a time when I was grappling with a major life decision, and my inclination was to overthink every possible outcome. It was in those moments that I found solace in simply praying. Through prayer, I learned to articulate my fears and hopes, allowing me to release the weight of uncertainty. I recall sitting in silence, reflecting on my thoughts and feelings, and then pouring them out in prayer. It became a meditative practice, calming my racing mind and bringing me back to a state of peace. The act of speaking to God felt like confiding in a trusted friend, someone who would listen without judgment and offer wisdom in return. Moreover, I discovered that prayer is not just about asking for things, it's also about gratitude and acknowledgement. Every time I took a moment to reflect on my blessings, I felt a wave of contentment wash over me. Recognizing the good in my life, even during challenging times, shifted my perspective. In that space of prayer, I was reminded of God's faithfulness and love, which in turn fueled my hope and determination. Over time, I also began to appreciate the communal aspect of prayer. Sharing prayer requests with friends and family created a sense of unity and support. Knowing that others were praying for me added an extra layer of strength to my own prayers. It reminded me that we are all interconnected, and our collective faith can create a powerful force for good. Ultimately, the importance of prayer in my life cannot be understated. It has been a source of strength, comfort, and guidance. Whether I'm praying alone or with others, it serves as a constant reminder of my relationship with God and the unwavering support I have in my journey. Service to others. Service to others has always been a natural extension of my faith. Growing up, I was taught the importance of helping those in need, but it wasn't until I began to actively engage in service that I truly understood its profound impact. The more I reached out to help others, the more I realized that these acts of kindness were not just about giving. They were about receiving as well. I remember volunteering at a local shelter, serving meals to those who were less fortunate. Initially, I thought I was there to help them, but what I found was a deep sense of fulfillment and purpose in the process. Each smile, each thank you filled my heart with joy. It was a beautiful reminder that serving others is also a way to honor God. By extending love to those in need, I was living out the teachings of my faith in a tangible way. Moreover, service has a way of breaking down barriers. It opens our eyes to the struggles of others and fosters empathy. I recall a moment when I connected with a man at the shelter who shared his story of hardship. Listening to him reminded me of my own struggles and how important it is to support one another. In those moments of connection, I felt God's presence, reinforcing the idea that we are all part of a larger community, bound by our shared humanity. In addition, serving others has taught me humility. It's easy to get caught up in our own lives and challenges, but stepping outside of ourselves and helping those who are struggling often puts things into perspective. I've learned that everyone has a story, and sometimes all it takes is a little kindness to make a significant difference in someone's life. Ultimately, service to others has become an integral part of my faith journey. It's a beautiful expression of love, a way to reflect the heart of God in the world. As I continue to serve, I am reminded of the countless ways we can impact lives, both our own and those around us. Self-knowledge and personal growth. Self-knowledge is a journey that I've come to value deeply, particularly in the context of my faith. It's fascinating how understanding ourselves can lead to profound personal growth. In my own life, I've spent years unraveling the layers of my identity, and I've realized that my relationship with God plays a pivotal role in this process. I remember a time when I felt lost, questioning my purpose and direction. It was during this period of introspection that I turned to prayer and scripture for guidance. As I delved into the Word, I began to uncover truths about myself that I hadn't fully recognized before. The more I sought God, the more clarity I found about my passions, strengths, and even weaknesses. It was as if God was helping me to see the unique blueprint He had designed for my life. Additionally, self-knowledge has also involved confronting my fears and insecurities. I've had to face uncomfortable truths about myself, but through prayer and reflection, I've learned to embrace those aspects as part of my journey. Understanding that I am a work in progress has allowed me to approach personal growth with grace. I'm learning to celebrate small victories and acknowledge that setbacks are merely stepping stones to greater understanding and resilience. Engaging in this process of self-discovery has also deepened my connection with others. As I've learned more about myself, I've become more empathetic and understanding toward others. I realize that everyone is on their own journey of self-knowledge, and we all have our struggles. This understanding has enriched my relationships, allowing me to connect with others on a deeper level. Ultimately, the pursuit of self-knowledge, intertwined with my faith, has been a transformative journey. I've learned that understanding who I am in God's eyes is essential for personal growth. It's a continuous process, but one that brings me closer to my true self and to the divine purpose that God has for my life. Spiritual discipline. Spiritual discipline is something that I've come to appreciate as a vital aspect of my faith journey. At first, the idea of discipline felt daunting, like another obligation on my already busy schedule. However, as I began to incorporate spiritual practices into my daily life, I realized that they were not just routines, they were lifelines that strengthened my relationship with God. I remember when I first committed to a daily devotional practice. Initially, it felt like a chore, but over time, I discovered the richness it brought to my life. Setting aside time each day to read scripture and reflect on its meaning became a sacred ritual. It was in those quiet moments that I found clarity and peace, grounding me in my faith amidst the chaos of life. Moreover, prayer became another essential discipline for me. I learned that consistency in prayer not only deepens my relationship with God, but also cultivates a sense of awareness throughout my day. It's easy to get caught up in the busyness of life, but when I take a moment to pause and pray, I am reminded of my priorities and the importance of seeking God's guidance. This practice has transformed my perspective, allowing me to approach each day with a sense of purpose. Additionally, I discovered the importance of community in my spiritual discipline. Engaging with others in group studies or prayer meetings has enriched my understanding of faith. Sharing insights and experiences with fellow believers has opened my eyes to different interpretations and applications of Scripture. It's a reminder that we are not meant to walk this journey alone. Community plays a significant role in our spiritual growth. Ultimately, spiritual discipline has become a source of strength and renewal in my life. It has taught me the value of consistency and commitment in my relationship with God. Each practice, whether it be reading, praying, or engaging with others, is a thread that weaves together the fabric of my faith, guiding me toward a deeper understanding of who I am and who I am called to be. Chapter 2: Gratitude and Contentment. You know, there's something about cultivating a heart filled with gratitude that can change everything. When I start my day by acknowledging the good things in my life, no matter how small, it sets a positive tone. I mean, think about it. How often do we get caught up in our problems, forgetting the simple joys? From the warm cup of coffee in the morning to the smile of a stranger, these little moments are treasures. When we focus on what we have rather than what we lack, it's like a light switch turns on in our minds, illuminating the brighter side of life. Contentment, on the other hand, is like that cozy blanket on a chilly evening. It wraps around you, making you feel secure and at peace. I've realized that true contentment doesn't come from external circumstances, but from an internal state of being. When I prioritize gratitude, I find myself becoming more content with what I have. It's a beautiful cycle. Gratitude breeds contentment, and contentment leads to even more gratitude. It's a win-win situation, if you ask me. There are days when I struggle, of course. Life can throw curveballs, and it's easy to fall into the trap of comparison. I find myself scrolling through social media, seeing others living their best lives, and suddenly I feel like I'm missing out. But then I remind myself of the power of gratitude. Instead of focusing on what others have, I shift my attention to my own blessings, my family, friends, health, and opportunities. This practice helps me keep my feet on the ground and my heart aligned with appreciation. Practicing gratitude doesn't have to be complicated. I started keeping a gratitude journal, where I jot down a few things I'm thankful for every day. Some days it's as simple as a good meal or a sunny day. Other days, it can be a significant life event or a kind word from a friend. This habit has become a powerful tool in my life. Wisdom and direction. Seeking divine guidance in life is like having a trusted GPS for my soul. There are so many times when I'm faced with dilemmas, unsure of which path to take. In those moments, I've learned to pause and seek wisdom from God. It's amazing how clarity can emerge when I quiet my mind and listen for that still, small voice. It's not always an immediate answer, but over time, I find that the right direction becomes clearer. One of the most profound realizations I've had is that wisdom often comes through patience. There are situations where I wanted immediate answers, but life has taught me that sometimes I need to wait and trust the process. I remember a time when I was contemplating a big career move. Instead of rushing into a decision, I prayed and reflected. Gradually, the pieces began to fall into place. I learned that wisdom is not just about knowing what to do, but also about understanding the timing and circumstances surrounding each decision. I've also discovered that seeking wisdom isn't just about big life choices. It's about the everyday moments too. I've come to embrace the fact that while I may not always have all the answers, I can find comfort in knowing that I'm not alone on this path. With faith as my anchor, I'm learning to embrace the journey and the wisdom that comes along with it. Positive influence. Living a life centered around God isn't just about personal growth. It has a ripple effect on those around me. I've noticed how my actions, whether big or small, can inspire others to seek something greater in their own lives. It's like casting a stone into a still pond. The ripples extend far beyond the point of impact. This influence can be incredibly powerful, and I've come to realize that every interaction is an opportunity to be a beacon of light. One of the most rewarding aspects of this journey is when someone comes to me and shares how my faith or actions have impacted them. I remember a time when a friend confided in me about their struggles with faith. As I shared my own experiences and how prioritizing God has transformed my life, I saw a spark ignite in their eyes. It reminded me that our stories can encourage others to explore their own relationship with God. I've also found that living authentically is key to positive influence. When I embrace my faith openly and genuinely, it creates a safe space for others to express their own beliefs and doubts. It's not about preaching or forcing anyone into a particular belief system. Rather, it's about being a living testament to the power of faith. I've seen how this authenticity can foster deeper connections and encourage others to reflect on their own spiritual journeys. In everyday situations, I strive to embody kindness, compassion, and understanding, qualities that reflect my faith. Whether it's helping a neighbor or lending a listening ear to a friend, I've learned that these simple acts can resonate deeply. People notice when someone is genuinely caring, and it often encourages them to pay it forward. It's like igniting a chain reaction of positivity and love in our communities. Ultimately, being a positive influence is about embodying the values I hold dear. It's about recognizing that my journey is interconnected with the lives of others. As I continue to prioritize my relationship with God, but I've also discovered that facing those fears through faith can lead to incredible breakthroughs. It's as if I'm standing at the edge of a cliff, and the only way to move forward is to trust that I can soar instead of fall. One time, I was faced with a significant life change that triggered a wave of fear within me. I remember feeling overwhelmed by self-doubt and a fear of the unknown. It was during this time that I turned to prayer and scripture, seeking comfort and strength. Slowly, I began to realize that fear doesn't have to define me. Instead of seeing it as a barrier, I started viewing it as a challenge to overcome. This shift in perspective empowered me to take small, courageous steps forward. I've learned that confronting fears often requires vulnerability. It's not always easy to share my anxieties with others, but I've found that doing so can be incredibly liberating. When I opened up to a close friend about my fears, their support and understanding made all the difference. I realized that I wasn't alone in my struggles, and that connection helped me to navigate through my fears more effectively. Another powerful tool in overcoming fear is visualization. I often take time to imagine the best possible outcome, focusing on the positive aspects of what I'm afraid of. This practice allows me to reframe my mindset, shifting from a place of fear to one of hope and possibility. When I can envision success and the joy that comes with it, those fears begin to lose their grip on me. Ultimately, I've come to embrace the idea that fear can coexist with faith. It's not about eliminating fear entirely, but learning how to respond to it with trust and resilience. As I continue on this journey, I find that with each fear I face, I grow stronger and more confident. And in doing so, I'm reminded that there is a greater power guiding me, helping me to rise above the challenges that life throws my way. Promise of transformation. One of the most profound aspects of putting God first in my life is the promise of transformation. There's an undeniable power in surrendering my will and allowing divine guidance to shape my path. I've seen firsthand how prioritizing my faith can lead to remarkable changes, not just in my circumstances, but within myself. It's like a metamorphosis, where the old self gradually gives way to a new and improved version. When I first made the decision to put God at the center of my life, I didn't fully grasp the implications. I was looking for peace and purpose, but what I found was so much more. As I began to deepen my relationship with God, I noticed shifts in my mindset and behavior. Old habits that once held me back started to fade away. It was as if a weight had been lifted, and I was finally free to pursue the life I was meant to live. This transformation isn't always instantaneous. It's a journey that unfolds over time. There have been moments of struggle and doubt, times when I questioned whether As we wrap up our journey today, let's reflect on the powerful message of putting God first in our lives. Imagine waking up each day filled with purpose and clarity, knowing that His guidance lights your path. When we prioritize our relationship with Him, everything else falls into place. Challenges become opportunities for growth, and fears transform into faith. Think about it. What would your life look like if you truly embraced this principle? Would you face your struggles differently? Would your relationships flourish in ways you never imagined? These are the questions that can reshape your reality. Now, I challenge you. Take a moment each day to seek Him first. Open your heart and watch as doors begin to open, doors to joy, peace, and fulfillment. You might even discover that the very trials you face are stepping stones to something greater. So, what's holding you back? Are you ready to make that commitment? Remember, it's not just about believing, it's about acting. Share your thoughts in the comments below. How has putting God first changed your perspective? Let's ignite a conversation. Keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep growing. Your journey is just beginning.